Today was the first real test for Delhi's odd and even scheme to tackle pollution in the capital. Most offices reopened, people came back from their New Year's break. So how did the capital fare? Let's take a look.
दिल्ली वालों को जो चुनौती मिली थी, दिल्ली वाले अभी अब तक की जो खबरें हैं उसमें उन्होंने ये बात को साबित किया है कि वो दिल से इस पूरे अभियान में साथ खड़े हैं और दिल्ली वालों ने अग्नि परीक्षा पास कर ली है।
Delhi got back to work after a long weekend and it was a smooth ride for most. January 4th meant only cars with even registration numbers were allowed on roads and Delhiites were leading by example. Saw a few violators of the odd-even scheme this morning, but they are very much the exception to what seems to be working quite well. Omar Abdullah, who is in the national capital, remarked. Though the metro ran at full capacity and there were 3,000 more DTC buses on the roads, carpooling emerged as the popular choice. Even Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal carpooled with Delhi Transport Minister Gopal Rai and Home Minister Satyendra Jain to the Delhi Secretariat.
हमारी पीक आवर में कैपेसिटी में लोग आते हैं, अभी भी उससे कम ही लोग आए हैं, तो इसका मतलब यह है कि लोग कार पूलिंग पे ज्यादा एम्फेसिस कर रहे हैं और कार पूलिंग को फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी में जैसा अनुमान था लोग ले रहे हैं। उसके अलावा मेट्रो में आज लोग दिखे हैं, मतलब बसों में दिखे हैं, लेकिन कुल मिलाकर के आज मंडे के दिन भी दिल्ली जाम फ्री रही है।
Though over 500 people were fined for flouting rules today, the number was double as compared to Friday. The Delhi Traffic Police also adopted a different strategy today. Traffic police teams focused on border posts to catch violators driving into Delhi.
A lot of people are returning back from their holidays and we are observing that the compliance level, although it is very high, but still the violation is also more than what was there on the Saturdays and Friday.
कल आया था मैम।
अच्छा कल आए, कल आपको कोई
प्रॉब्लम नहीं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं।
तो अभी आप आगे से क्या करोगे?
आगे से कुछ नहीं करेंगे, आएंगे नहीं हम तो।
अच्छा।
मैं तो रोज गाड़ी लेके आऊंगा। पसंद नहीं करते। मैं तो रोज गाड़ी लेके आऊँ, ये गाड़ी लेके आऊंगा।
अच्छा।
चलान इनका काटा, चलान रोज काटो, गाड़ी रख देता हूँ अभी लोग।
क्योंकि दिल्ली में रूल है, गुड़गांव में तो नया नहीं ये रूल।
अच्छा। तो आप दिल्ली किस लिए आते हैं काम?
मैं अभी डॉक्टर के जा रहा था, सिस्टर को लेके।
Scenes like these in rush hour traffic is a rare sight for the national capital. While Delhiites have beaten the odds this Monday morning and championed the odd and even scheme, what still remains to be a concern is the constantly rising pollution levels. And sources indicate after Delhi, now NCR states might be next in joining hands in the odd even scheme. In New Delhi with Tana Biswas and camera person Sudhir, I'm Sonal Mehrotra, NDTV.
Well, to try and figure out some more about how this plan is or is not working, Sambit Patra is still with us from the BJP. We're also being joined by Raghav Chadha of the Aam Aadmi Party, Vivek Chattopadhyay from the Centre for Science and Environment joining us as well, and Padma Rao in the studio with us. Sambit, I'm going to actually open this with you because I know on Friday when we spoke on day one, you said that you hadn't been out of your house at all, so that the scheme hadn't impacted you on day one. What has it done for you today?
No, in fact, as you have mostly seen me on television, so I hardly get out of the place that I am in. But the party office is just across the road. In fact, if I have to go to the party office, I just walk down.
Okay.
So that it's as easy as that. For me, I don't have to take any strain. But well, yes, I have always maintained right from the very beginning that let's not politicize pollution. So let me congratulate the people of Delhi that they have been following the rules, and it's fantastic to see Delhi this way.
Okay, Padma, we'll come to you in just a second. But Raghav Chadha, Sambit Patra is walking from his residence to his party office. He is also saying that this is not to be politicized, and I think all of Delhi is kind of on board with the idea that certainly there shouldn't be a politicization of this. As an observer, as a commuter today, I can tell you it was a great ride through traffic. It was smooth sailing. Commutes that take an hour took about 25 minutes. I don't know what it did to the pollution levels. It certainly eased up congestion on the roads.
Well, as far as the pollution levels are concerned and the monitoring of those levels is concerned, the data for the 1st, 2nd and 3rd of January is available with us. The data for Monday, that is the 4th of January, that is today, still awaited and should be available by tomorrow evening. As far as the data of the first 3 days goes, the toxic air pollutant, that is the PM 2.5 and PM 10.0 have shown drastic reduction. The PM 2.5 has reduced by about 40% in 20 locations in Delhi, and PM 10.0 has reduced from 25 to 40% on all these 20 locations. However, there is one more observation that the Delhi Pollution Control Committee has furnished, that is that the reduction in air pollutant and air toxicants is not as much on the border areas adjoining neighboring states like Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, etc., but it is very much there in the in the heart of the city and other areas. So that is one observation that we have received. As far as the experiment of odd and even goes, today there were a lot of apprehensions because Monday being the first full working day of the year, there were apprehensions, and as the Transport Minister pointed out in his opening in his press address, that this was much like the Agni Pariksha, the litmus test, and the people of Delhi have passed this litmus test with flying colors. They have embraced this idea, and I think the real stakeholders in the governance of Delhi, that is the people of Delhi, need to be congratulated for their acceptance. And as the Chief Minister has pointed out, that the government is taking a number of measures. This is just one of the various measures that the government has taken. There are administrative measures, legislative measures, etc., in order to ensure that the air pollution is brought under check.
All right, Padma, I want to bring you in on this, and then we'll go to Mr. Chattopadhyay as well. Now, the thing is that, this is an immediate emergency measure, as they're calling it. Cut down the number of cars on the road, the emissions and the fumes will come down immediately as a result of that. But Delhi has a serious civic crisis in terms of congestion, traffic, noise pollution, air pollution.
Yes.
All of it.
Yes.
So, taking the cars off the road for 15 days is maybe one part of a solution, as they're pointing out. But your apprehensions about this?
I'll tell you what my apprehensions are. My apprehensions are, having lived more than 5 decades in this country and having witnessed one city government after another, and Delhi being my hometown, one thing I stand witness to is the fact that anarchy runs deep in our veins, number one. Number two, a love for exemption and a love for VIP status and VVIP exemptions also runs very deep in our veins. Now, I'll give you, my problem is not this. I'm not a naysayer to this initiative or any other initiative that brings down pollution. Completely agree with you, drastic steps have to be taken, they have to be taken immediately. However, and this experiment is only for 15 days, so we're not really going to mourn too much about this. The whole problem is, yet again, like they transported, the previous Congress government, the model of the BRT from Bogota all the way to Delhi without considering the size of Bogota, the size of Delhi, the parameters, etc. Similarly, this seems to have been, as you said, a quick fix solution. I'll tell you what, it's taken a PIL. It's taken a PIL to sort out exemption for the disabled, for instance. It needn't have taken a PIL. It took all that effort by a disabled boy to get that exemption finally, after Mr. Kejriwal's government reportedly refused to listen to him. Then the second biggest problem I discussed is exemption. I've waited 76 years to see if there can be any one law related to shared public spaces, like roads, parking spaces, public gardens, for which there are no exceptions. But no, even this most crucial step has exemptions. Now, who's exempted? Vehicles on Government of India duty. How do you prove that? By resorting to the Lal Batti again? Okay. Then women drivers with women passengers only. What does that even mean? Okay. That means women with male drivers must now make them sit out half the week and hire a woman driver? And the biggest mystery to me are SPG protectees.
Yeah.
So if the SPG car of an SPG protectee takes the Baba Lok pony riding to the Delhi riding club, they can get off. Right. And the diplomats, finally the diplomats, the CD plates, please pray. What is so urgent that these delicate darlings need to rush from point A to point
Okay,
B,
let me just-
even for the 2 weeks when there is a rule in place.
let me just get-
And ditto for our politicians.
Let me just get
Given the
Padma,
amount
I'll
of
just
time
get Vivek
they've
Chattopadhyay
stopped
into
debate
this.
in Parliament.
I'll just get Vivek
hardly
Chattopadhyay
go
into this as
anywhere.
well. But Raghav, before that, a couple of points that Padma has raised that I want you to respond to. I commute on this BRT on a regular basis.
please,
I mean,
yes, the BRT.
I don't know
Thank you.
what to say to any government in Delhi
Tell us,
as
Raghav
somebody who
Chadha, when are you
suffers that
getting rid of
BRT
that
every
bloody
day. That's
BRT,
one.
really?
The second, on the exemptions, just a clarification because we had a couple of questions in office as well. Is it lone women drivers with children under the age of 12, or is it cars of women who are driving together?
Fine,
Because
ask
that seems to be something that people are also sort of, seeing how they can work around.
Yes, so a couple of points have been highlighted. Let me first address the question of exemptions.
Yeah.
The government has exempted roughly 15 types of vehicles. Let me categorize these exemptions into 3 broad categories. First are the lifeline vehicles, the enforcement vehicles, the police vehicles, the ambulances, the fire
We're
brigades,
not
etc.
talking
I
about
don't think
medical
anybody
Padma,
would
let him
disagree.
respond. Padma, let him
The
respond.
second
Talking about medical
exemption
emergency.
is
Padma, let him
not,
respond,
second
yeah.
exemption is about, may I please complete?
Yes,
Ma'am, I
Raghav,
did
go
not,
ahead.
I never interrupted when
Yeah.
you were speaking.
Raghav, go ahead.
Please
go
let
ahead.
me complete.
Yeah.
The second category of exemptions is the exemptions given to union ministers, the president, the vice president, the prime
Yeah.
minister, etc., and certain dignitaries.
Yeah.
The exemption does not apply to every vehicle that is on the government of India duty, only to certain dignitaries because
is
there
the
are security
certain?
concerns.
Padma, let him finish,
And this
yeah.
does not mean that these dignitaries do not have to comply with this. This does not mean that they will not comply. There is
Yeah.
still,
Come on,
and
it's
the
tautology.
chief minister also requested all the dignitaries to lead by example and cooperate and participate, like we have seen the chief justice of the Supreme
Yeah.
Court doing carpooling and is leading by example
Fair
and is
point.
an inspiration for all of us.
Okay.
And the third category of exemptions is disabled people, passengers in a car. That car would be exempted. Women drivers, two-wheeler, CNG, etc. Now we can have different views. Now, for example, you raised a question about women drivers. There are safety concerns. There is lack
Right.
of last mile connectivity in Delhi. The government is augmenting all these things.
Okay.
As far as two-wheelers goes,
You've
the government at
explained-
this point
All
is
right.
also monitoring capacity utilization with
All right,
respect to
Raghav,
enforcement
you've
as well as
explained-
with respect
Raghav,
to
you've
public
ex-
transport.
okay,
So
you've
this is only the
explained-
first phase. There will be many learnings.
You've explained the rationale for the exemptions. We'll come back to that a little more as well. But Ms. Chattopadhyay, you're joining us from the Center for Science and Environment right now. Your take on a measure like this and how much it will actually impact the air pollution, the air quality in Delhi. We've seen a winter with deficient rain. It's warmer than I remember January's to be in years. What's going on?
See, the air quality is impacted by a variety of factors, and whatever the air pollution which is already in the air takes time to disperse because already the air is stagnated and hardly there is any wind speed. So the main reason of air pollution is accumulation of the air, all the pollutants. And what you are going to see the impact is on the road side, where people breathe. For example, when cars are caught in condition, they are made twice what they would be the optimum speed. And when the people pass that direction goes away. So I think there is no doubt about that. And when you take out a diesel car, for example, the affected cars with diesel as well. So the studies in Europe says that one diesel car, Euro 4 or BS4, emits 27 times more than a petrol car.
Right.
I think there is big feedback, but that will show up in the PM 2.5 because
all right.
there are several
But,
simultaneous
I think
measures
we've
are
got
also
some
there.
problem with your audio line. I'm going to come back to you. But Sambit, I want you to come in on this because, you know, there are many factors that are contributing to the capital's air quality crisis. Just pollution crisis. I talked about sanitation, civic sense, noise pollution, air pollution, all of it together, coupled with the fact that the city has just not seen any rain this winter.
No, there are a number of issues naturally which is adding to the woes of the Delhiites. In fact, the pollution is increasing because of number of causes, but we have to address them gradually. There are 2 or 3 important things that I want to keep over here. Number one, well, drastic measures need drastic steps. I mean, pollution was really high, and so I think this 15-day step was taken. But the question is, if this whole thing of 15 days is extended beyond 15 days for say 1 month or 2 months, then the problem would begin. You know, this good boy behavior of all of us, me walking down to my office, well, it can be done for 15 days, but thereafter what will happen is, I read an article only a few days ago in Times of India as to how Beijing reacted to when this was extended there, when the odd even formula was extended in Beijing. Then naturally people bought the second car, and you would be astonished to know what happened was pollution was doubled. Initially the pollution had gone down, and then pollution doubled. And we have the example of Bogota. Bogota, in fact, the place from where this whole thing began, there people changed. They had 2 formulas. One was about the odd even, and second was about the peak hours. The government restricted the car movements, saying that, well, yes, this is the peak hour. In the peak hour, the cars with certain number plates cannot come out. You know what the people in Bogota did? They changed the peak hours. If the peak hour was at 9 a.m., they made 11 a.m. the peak hours, and almost all of the Bogoites were coming out at 11 a.m. So naturally, the government has to provide the amenities if it wants to continue with this.
The Dilliwala will also try and find ways around this. Padma, the point is, at the end of the day, we can argue with the Aam Aadmi Party, we can argue with whichever government is in power. As citizens of Delhi, we are as responsible for the crisis we're in today.
Absolutely. And I've said right in the beginning, I'm repeating myself, I support this and every other initiative. Anything is better than nothing to quell pollution. But as Sambit says, first of all, we don't know what's going to happen after the 15 days. Let's wait and see. Fine. I'm not being pessimistic. The point is that everybody loves walking and cycling. It's good for our health, for instance. But can you honestly show me, Sambit or Raghav, one single sidewalk, pavement outside Lutyens, which is not cluttered with either vendors or with other parked cars? Okay, 1 minute. Can you show me a cycle lane where the cyclist has right of way, like in other countries, and where he will not be run over?
Padma, we're very short on time. Let Raghav, I think the question is, at the end of the day, this is a great initiative to get people aware, but without a long-term solution, Bogota, the example that Sambit Patra was talking about, the BRT system essentially is working over there because an entire city's BRT was rolled out before it became functional. There is no public transport. These are piecemeal measures.
Piecemeal, you said it, yeah.
Yeah, so you see, the finance minister of Delhi, while presenting the budget, paraphrased the mayor of Bogota and said that a developed country or city is not the one in which the poor have cars, but the one in which the rich use public transport. And on these lines, a detailed blueprint was laid down for a multimodal, integrated, safe, reliable public transport system. That's one. I completely accept. But as of now, Delhi lacks adequate public transport. May I please complete? Did I interrupt you? Did I interrupt you?
Come on.
Maya, you need to
Raghav, finish your point.
I can.
Raghav, finish your point.
This verbal hacking on such a topic will take us nowhere.
Yeah, let him finish his point, Padma. Go ahead, Raghav.
So I accept that in Delhi, public transport system needs to be augmented, needs to be improvised, and a lot of measures need to be taken, and our government has laid down a complete blueprint. Now, for example, the previous speaker pointed out about the lack of adequate payments and safe routes for cyclists and pedestrians.
Raghav, can I ask you a
Absolutely
simple
correct,
question?
and that is why the PWD minister. Let me just complete. Let me complete my point. The PWD minister of the government of Delhi has already announced that the entire roads that fall within the jurisdiction of government of Delhi, that is 1,280 kilometers of roads, will be redesigned completely by giving emphasis on making spaces for pedestrians, second on cycling and cyclist tracks, then third focus would be on public transport, And
Okay.
lastly,
Raghav,
when
can I
mention
just
of the
ask
width
a
of the road for
simple-
private
disabled
cars,
today
the
and I'm
entire
60
plan
years
has been
old.
Padma, one second.
brought to the
Padma,
fore. It
just
is
a
available
moment.
for us to
Raghav,
see. Everybody can go on the website of
Raghav
the Delhi government and
Chadha,
check.
Thinking of that
Padma
first.
Rao and Raghav Chadha,
Yeah.
one moment. Can I just ask you a simple question, Raghav? You guys have been in government now for nearly a year. Well, let's take the BRT for an example.
Yes.
It's been called a
9
failed
months.
example. What has stopped the Aam Aadmi Party from dismantling it completely, widening those road spaces, creating the sidewalks that used to exist over there? You haven't done that. It's very well to talk about we've got a long-term strategy, we will do this. Why aren't you working on what's already in existence?
You just announced that you needed 100 crores to break it down, but that was about a year ago since you announced it. What happened? We suffer
as far
every
as
day.
the BRT is concerned, as far as this particular stretch of BRT is concerned, I'm sure you're already aware that the government, the cabinet has already taken a decision for scrapping this particular stretch of BRT.
Okay.
It's already been widely reported in the media, and the process has already started.
Oh, really?
The process has started. That's one. Point
What is
number
happening?
2, you see a lot of people, including Padma, have said that the government has taken a hasty decision or it's a quick fix. Please
Right.
understand. These are desperate times calling for desperate measures. The High Court of Delhi has termed Delhi as a gas chamber. Every
It is
other
a gas
house in
chamber.
Delhi has
Okay.
a nebulizer.
All right.
We are witnessing 80 deaths a day
All right.
due to respiratory disorders.
Okay,
so
we're gonna
therefore,
repeat the statistics.
if it is
Raghav, we've been
a
repeating the
short-term
same-
measure, we all must contribute
We've
rather
been-
than
yes,
criticizing
including-
it.
including
And let me
serial
also
number
say this, that the
plates,
people of Delhi
including
have embraced
diplomats.
this solution.
Everyone,
Let us
including
move
every
forward.
government
resident
duty.
every resident of Delhi must contribute. There's no point
No
screaming at it.
exemptions.
Padma, Raghav, we're on the same page over here. Sambit Patra, continue walking to work while you can, and we'll try and do the same thing ourselves as well, if time and space, sidewalks permit. Thanks very much for joining us. Raghav, we'll be back with you on the 15th of January as well to see how this has gone. Thank you for being a
get me
sport
back
and
also.
joining us, as well as Padma. She says she has more questions for you then. That's all on the left, right and center. Thanks for watching.